shows that it's quite balanced at the moment. There's no one, apart from some people would say Baron, there's no one that's really too strong and that you just can't counter, but lots of different teams think that there were different strong heroes.
That's true, but I'm also looking kind of forward to a first Grump jaw of our tournament, because
definitely.
I think that was maybe the battle between Popeyes and forgot the team that we were going up against. An immediate ban on the Grump jaw, but then no pick after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the Grump jaw play, but maybe we will in this first game because the draft is ready. So without further ado, we are going to go into the draft.
The draft begins.
Here we have Artisan versus Infamous. So Artisan on Team A, they're very likely to ban Baron or want to try and pick him up, because even though most people aren't sure what meta each team's going to be playing under, it's likely that Baron, Grubjaw, as you said, Batiste is likely to be picked up or banned away quite quickly. Also, Idris is a really good counter to a lot of the weapon power meta heroes at the moment. So it wouldn't be surprising if Idris is played, but obviously he can be countered pretty easily. So you don't want to pick him up immediately. You want to wait to see what are they going to go. Are they going to go Kestrel, maybe Samuel, and you probably don't want to pick Idris into that. But if they're going something like Vox or Gwen, then it's a much better idea to go Idris. Yeah. Taka ban, I think that's just a comfort ban. They don't like playing against Taka, and quite a lot of their heroes are quite well countered by Taka. And Sky as well, that could be a target ban, because Taka is a really good Sky counter, so they think if we can't counter the Sky, then we're just going to ban her away, and Catherine immediately picked up, because obviously Sky good Catherine counter and Sky off the fold, as well as Catherine just being a strong hero at the moment.
Yeah, really like how she initiates with that merciless pursuit. What could be the next pick here? Yeah.
It's all about how many Captain of the Guard stacks you can get in the early and mid game, so that once it gets to the late game, you're pretty much the tankiest hero there is, because except for maybe a Finn. Like, it's all about, if Catherine can stay in lane, get lots of stacks up, then she'll be extremely tanky. I think they're probably going to pick up Arden, or maybe even a Grace. I'd like to see, or Lyra. Yeah, Lyra for the heal. And this ban is really where the draft is kind of won or lost, because if you manage to ban away the main counter picks to your composition and manage to pick it up, then you're in a perfect position. Similarly, if you leave good heroes open, they're going to ban away the Baron, make sure they don't want to play it, and they don't want to play against it, especially with a Catherine on the enemy team. It's quite hard to play Baron effectively into Catherine. With the Storm Guard, she can reflect a lot of damage onto you. She want to play as a Baron. I wouldn't be surprised if Vox might be banned away here, because Vox Baron, very strong ranged weapon power carries.
Idris, though.
Actually, going to ban away the Idris. That makes a lot of sense. As I said, Idris is extremely strong, and they immediately pick up the Vox, because I think what they wanted there was they wanted to ban away the Baron, to bait out either the Idris or the Vox ban, and then they were going to pick up the other one, because they decided that these are the strongest carries. And so there isn't that much open in terms of weapon power carries. Obviously, you could go Gwen is not too bad, and Ringo can go Crystal as well, and they always flex Kestrel, so that could be lane weapon power Kestrel, or we can see Kestrel going into the jungle. So they've got a bit of time to think about what they want to pair with that Kestrel. I'd love to see a Batiste really good into Vox, stopping him being able to Sonic Zoom away, and yeah, they're going to go for the Batiste. That's a double squishy comp though, with a Catherine to try and front line, so there could be a risk of, obviously Taka isn't available, which is a really good ban. Taka would be extremely good into that comp, but they could go for a Crystal Power Glaive, might work quite well to try and get the Kestrel out of position. Or I'd love to see a Grubjaw. Would you like to see a Grubjaw in this game? It would be an all-white counter, but it'd just be lots of fun to see.
For sure, because if you're able to devour that Catherine, it's just gonna, like you said, leave these two squishies out in the open for I don't know, for them to just chase them down.
Yeah, Lyra's fantastic at chasing, using Arcane Passage and Imperial Sigil. Lyra can pretty much chase down anyone, and she can stop you engaging on her with the Black Bulwark. But they're going to go for the poke with the Celeste to try and outpoke Batiste, which is a pretty good idea. Batiste not having that much range on his bad mojos, Celeste will have an awful lot more range on her Heliogenesis, especially at level 8. But it will be quite tough for Celeste in the early game. Batiste has quite a strong power spike around level 4 once he gets his Bad Mojo leveled up and gets a couple of items. So Celeste could be in a little bit of trouble if she's still leveling up, and if she maybe hasn't shopped and Batiste has, and Celeste could give over a kill, give over quite a lot of her jungle. Because it will be a really good probably an early invade coming out from Batiste, but probably not a level 1, because he really needs that Ordain to stop people running away from him.
Yeah, still there is a lot of, like you said, good front line here for, I believe this is Artisan. Although I'm kind of curious to see, because there's a lot of keep away potential in a way for, for Infamous. So because they got the Celeste, they got the Lyra, they got. The Vox is actually pretty mobile as well with that Sonic Zoom. You're just gonna be able to, kite for days. So let's see if the Artisan has that chase potential when Infamous will maybe bait them for the fights.
Yeah, there's going to be quite a lot of poke before the fight. Celeste obviously wanting to wait as long as possible before the fight actually breaks out, so she can get damage on her Helios, get broken mid stacks, and then once the fight breaks out, she'll be doing massive burst damage. Batiste wants to do kind of similar, but he also hasn't got anywhere near as much range. And once Batiste gets empowered, he really wants to get in and start and engage the fight, so he gets the Bad Mojo while he's empowered to get massive damage. And it's going to be about positioning, because there's a lot of skill shots. There's obviously Glimmer shots from Kestrel, Bad Mojo from Batiste, and Heliogenesis from Celeste. Vox is kind of going to be waiting for the call from Lyra to go in and engage, because Vox has much shorter range than Kestrel, especially with Kestrel's Glimmer shots.
Yeah, for sure.
And with Batiste poking and Celeste poking, Vox is going to be kind of out of the fight until Lyra allows him to go in with an Imperial Sigil or with an Arcane Passage. We are going to... Oh, that was my screen dampening. We're not going in the game quite yet. Just waiting for the teams to be ready. And it'll be interesting to see if the Celeste does manage to keep her jungle and not lose it to this Batiste.
Yeah, do you think that Batiste has the ability, right, to bully out the Celeste in the jungle quite easy?
I think he certainly can, but it'll be about whether he can do it as early as is necessary, because Batiste kind of struggles at level 1 because he only have a Bad Mojo to farm and can't cast Ordain, so anyone can just run away from him. So Celeste is guaranteed going to get her first rotation. Batiste won't be able to stop that going over, and then it's about if he can time his rotations into the jungle correctly to try and take the backs as soon as they're up, or maybe cap Celeste out while she's trying to farm and then get the kill, get the backs. Yeah, it's all about whether rotate at the right time, or if Celeste is going to get there before him.
That's true. There's also the possibility of the Catherine just going in with the Batiste just to get that Merciless Pursuit, the connection of the stun, and then put him in range of the Batiste. If she's level 2, maybe get that Ordain working as well, just to follow up Nick, have that chain CC, just to keep this Celeste put down in a way.
Yeah, if they can land the double stun from... as soon as the Ordained lands, then Catherine can easily get Merciless Pursuit in. And obviously, Kestrel with active camo can get stunned, but it's not as reliable as obviously Catherine's stun, or not even as reliable as Batiste's stun, because you have to really make them dive on top of you before that active camo trap will explode onto them. And Catherine's going reasonably low in lane to Uni, just taking a lot of poke. But the CS will still remain Roasty Toasty to try and pick up. What Batiste is going to solo jungle, will probably pick up this Elder Tree, and because I doubt Spaghetti's going to contest it.
Yeah, and guys, like we were saying, we're into the Halcyon Fold. It's going to be game 1 in this best of 3 series for the semifinals. Harkons, Delphi, Roasty Toasty for Artisan, and for Infamous, we got Spaghetti, Uni, and SNKEA. It's very.
I'm pretty sure that's it. If not, that's what I've always been saying, so I'm wrong.
Man, I guess unless they reprimand you, I guess it's fine.
Yeah. Fine until you're told you're wrong, then it's not fine.
Yeah. So Harkons, like you said,
just farming. He really wants to get some items, because Batiste can't do much really early, but it will be just in a couple of minutes when he's probably going to try and start an invading Spaghetti, because he can't let Celeste get towards her level 8 power spike without contest.
But this is it. Delphi and Harkons, actually going to be starting to roam around the jungle as a 2-man squad. Spaghetti intuitively puts down the flare to spot out Harkons here. And there's Harkons, but he won't be able to stop the recall.
Harkons knows Celeste's Porter is going to pop that scout trap, but right out to lane actually. I don't think Uni knows. He doesn't know about it now. The Pure Sigil going to be used to keep him nice and healthy. Harkon's not in the best position here. Going to cast Ordained on SNK. Lots of damage there with the empowered.
He's trying to run away.
God. And that would be first blood for these. Harkon's going to go very low. Cannot get any healing, and that will be the kill going over to Uni. 1 for 1, so not that bad. The first blood was traded over to Artisan, so they'll have a slight goal advantage.
Slight goal advantage. Nice connection there from Harkons. Like, that one Ordain was just enough, but wait, hold that thought. Merciless Pursuit onto Uni, but look at that. He has the mobility. He's able to get away for the meantime, and Delfire. A little bit too close there for comfort, buddy, but still able to get away from the clutches of death.
Yeah, just going to be okay. Delphi obviously needs to play with see how close you can get. So you can get another stack. Just to see if they've used the Stormbird to try and not die.
They want it. They're diving for it. They're going aggressive onto Roasting Me Toasty with the Lyra as SNKEA is going to be going aggressive. Harkon's here from the sidelines, closing with the flank, activates the Ordain, and he will try to go for some shenanigans right here, but, well, it's going to be Infamous with a 3-man stack, and Harkon's bit a bit more than he can actually do. And Roasting Me Toasty almost following up, but now it's Infamous. Going to be starting to siege this, well, turret in the lane.
Yeah, Roasting Me Toasty is very low, almost falling to the Vox Resonance bounce, but he's just going to have to port home. Cannot try and hope to hold this lane anymore. Batiste is probably going to rotate up towards the lane to try and stop that turret falling, just to make sure that Infamous don't get that advantage of being able to just take pretty much the mids of Artisan the entire time if that tier 1 turret does fall. But yeah, they just want to back off. I think Infamous deciding that Vox needs to shop, get his Poison Shiv, which is a great item on Vox, it synergizes so well with his kit with that attack speed and a little bit of sustain. But Spaghetti on Celeste already got 1 kill, doing a lot of damage onto Batiste, and it's going really well for Infamous at the moment. Batiste is not able to invade at all. Celeste has actually picked up a kill and now picked up a first tier 3 item. He's still working towards that, probably going to be a Shatterglass first. This is a good time for him to fight, especially with Spaghetti at level 6 having that Solar Storm. Most of the is going to be backed off under his turret. Harkon's going to look up, rotate the lane, probably want to try and maybe not even fight, maybe just try and stop this turret falling.
Yeah, but a little bit of a power play from Infamous, like you said. I really like how well Infamous have been catching out Harkons for the meantime. He's just been trying to flank from behind, but then it's always Infamous, having that one up, but Spaghetti. Well, he overcommitted, but there's going to be the Solar Storm. Look at the damage onto Roasting Me Toasty, but still, this is a little bit of weakness of Infamous. They got themselves a lot of poke, a lot of damage, but not really too much frontline, so they got to be careful because there is a lot of crowd control from Artisan. Delfire, if he connects that Merciless Pursuit, Uni is going to be in a bit of trouble here, and that's going to be the case. Look at that, one shutdown, hero killed, and Artisan finds the one man. They're looking onto SNKEA, but still, it's Artisan with one shutdown.
Yeah, that's going to be looking to siege this turret. Harkon's going to do as much damage as he can, but will not get empowered off the turret. Can't pick up soul fragments off turrets because turrets don't have souls. Something that Batista is known about because of Batiste.
I mean, machines do have. Yeah, maybe machines do. You got yourself.
Well, Batiste says they don't because he can't get soul fragments off turrets, so turrets don't have souls.
Oh,
yeah, you're actually going to look to return. Turn a bit tired down, but yeah, most Spaghetti's back, so he's just going to back off. Spaghetti's rotating back up to lane. Spaghetti clearing her farm extremely quickly and being able to rotate up to lane far before Harkons can, which is really good for Infamous. It means they can push Kestrel back and try and stop her farming up as easily as probably could. But yeah, that's supernova damage from Celeste. Awful lot. But there's the Ordained going to land until the Mercy Pursuit starts out. Spaghetti being blown up. Is a chain going to push Fox away.
They're trying to chase down. But
that's the chain CC we needed from Artisan. That's just Harkon's getting the stun from Ordained and Delphi immediately with Mercy Pursuit. Yeah, supposed to be toasty with that tension smoke rock. He's going to do a lot of burst damage on his first basic attack.
And now Infamous, well, they were able to at least stop the push in the lane, but still, like you said, the crowd control connections is just too easy here for Artisan. All they gotta do is either, again, connect that Merciless Pursuit and then follow up with Ordained, or vice versa, and SNKEA almost gets shut down. One shot, one miss, but Roasting Me Toasty, well, he's gonna eat themselves one Solar Storm, and will Infamous actually follow through? They have Spaghetti right here into the sidelines, and maybe he can connect himself a Helogenesis and then pop it up. But still, Nice, lots of damage from that Solar Storm.
Harkon's possibly out of position here. He's just going to be able to get away. He is 1v3 at the moment, and I don't think he knows that it's all three members of Infamous, but he will know now, and he's going to back off. No, he's going to do a lot of damage on Spaghetti, but there's the Imperial just giving us a healthy ordain. He's going to land lots of damage actually going out from Harkon. He's managing to hold his own 1v2 while Uni had to work out the lane because Rosie was pushing it in. And Goldmine's still nice and full. No one wants to go for it yet. They're just worried about being stolen because Batiste can actually take the Goldmine just by himself because he has a lot of sustain from just basic stacking it, getting self-focused. Yeah. And it's obviously really annoying when you're playing against a Batiste and he just takes the Goldmine when you're not expecting it, because that's a lot of gold that you just lost while you're maybe focusing in lane. And that's going to be, wait for it, not quite going to get on Uni, got the Imperial Sigil to try and keep him boosted forward, but it's not quite going to go under turret. Rosemitosti doing nice damage on SNK.
Yeah, Rosemitosti trying to defend this mid lane, or rather lane, and still there's going to be a 3-man stack by Infamous. The turret is very, very low here, so a couple of more auto attacks and that should be taken by Infamous. Delphire wanted to go in, actually doesn't get the catch off. One shot, one kill will not connect again for Rosemitosti, and you got to be careful a little bit there. Look at the damage from that Heliogenesis, the damage, the spam ability from Spaghetti is just showing right now, and he is just finding the marks. 2-man connection. Oh, the Solar Storm connect as well, and they'll be able to break down the turret. Maybe a second kill as well. Mortal Wound connecting onto Delphire. He slams it down with the ultimate, but still it will not be enough, and the chase is on. Harkon's a little bit out of position here. He might as well be able to use his Fearsome Shade just for the pushback, and he will for the meantime. Very low on HP onto this Lyra, but she does have a lot of sustain. There is at least the rotation coming in from Rosemitosti. He's gonna be at least responding for Harkon's, maybe to save his life, and he will. But still, the damage from Infamous, 2 kills, 1 turret, that's a lot.
Yeah, Spaghetti really showing the power of Celeste, landing a couple of Heliogenesis in Supernova on Rosemitosti, and then the Solar Storm finishing him off. Played extremely well, but Batiste did manage to back off towards his Crystal Sentry, and they can't really fight him under Sentry, especially with the damage Batiste has and with the Fearsome Shade to keep them away. Batiste actually Fearsome Shade Uni under turret on Vox, so that was a really good ultimate. He forced the fountain from Lyra when she probably didn't want to use it, and so there won't be a fight for another couple of seconds while Lyra's fountain isn't up, but just pushing the lane. I think Infamous really want to focus on these lane fights because they feel like Batiste isn't as strong in the lane as he is in the jungle, because it's much harder to land directional skill shot like Bad Mojo it's much easier in the jungle because of the choke points that you have. And SNK trading an ultimate from Rosemitosti for an Imperial Sigil.
Yeah, from the looks of it though, Spaghetti has been so on point with dropping this Heliogenesis. He gets like 2-3-man ultimate, or rather damage output, and oh, there's a connection on the Fearsome Shade. They're chasing him down as hard as they can, but the connection onto the Batiste, he will get shut down. The chase down is real. Rosemitosti has to back away a little bit here as Infamous are on the warpath, and they are looking to not stop at all as they have their sights on the second turret. Mortal Wounds, or rather Delphire, wanting to actually go aggressive, maybe just to defend this turret, to stop the bleeding that Infamous is doing for the meantime. Rosemitosti very low on HP, and if he actually just dips in a bit too greedy into this pool, he might just drown, and that might be the case. He has to back away. No Solar Storm just yet from the Celeste. It is on cooldown, but still Infamous on the retreat. They're gonna spawn out the Lyra. Will she be able to escape? Arcane passes his way, and she will almost get away from the clutches of death. Oh, the heal. It's so good, and she will be able to escape. Infamous holding her hand. 3-man exit out. What a good play coming in from Infamous.
Yeah, managing to get the kills, get the turret, and then back off. SNK with a slither of health, using the Imperial Sigil, gonna use that burst to heal up. Now Harkon's gonna try and catch out Uni, gonna land the Ordain. Bad Mojo into Mercy pursuit, and the fear will be not quite blocked there. Uni's just gonna
run baby, run! That heal from SNK, that was just too good.
Yeah, it's extremely well played. SNK going for this extremely health-heavy build, meaning the Imperial Sigils will just do so much work. SNK trying to freeze this wave before it hits turret, but she's going to be fine. SNK can just tank that up with an Imperial Sigil, and Uni will won't lose this turret, won't lose any minions under it. So well played from SNK there to keep the wave away from this turret.
Wow, that was just confidence play coming in from SNK. Infamous's, I don't know, momentum right now is just spiraling a little bit out of control. Artisan is on the back end. They haven't really found their opening just yet. They actually have like good setup with Harkon's Fearsome Shade, but it's still not enough. There's so much poke damage coming in from the Vox, from the Celeste, that it, like, anything that they try to set up, it's immediately countered by, just getting the one pick off. Immediate one pick off.
Yeah, Spaghetti doing extremely well on Celeste just to land the core collapses while they're trying to chase, which is really hard to do because obviously when they're chasing, they're obviously going to use their boots, going to have lots of movement speed, but Spaghetti can still land the core collapse. As soon as core collapse lands, he's going to get Heliogenesis, Supernova, and Ultimate, and you're just going to get bursted down if you get stunned by that.
Yeah.
Spaghetti's doing really well at making sure those land. And going to be another 3 in lane. As I said, Infamous really want to fight in lane. They want to push the turrets, focus on objectives as opposed to focusing on fighting in the jungle, maybe taking gold mines and taking farm away.
For the meantime, Infamous have their sights again onto the last turret before before the vein will be exposed. Rather, the last lane turret before the 2 other
Crystal
turrets. Crystal turrets. There you go. They're going to be going aggressive. Delphire is going to go in. The damage from the Solar Storm once again. And all hell is broken loose. Harkon's with the flank. But will his damage be enough? Actually, here he's gotten a little bit too overextended. And Delphire, as well as Roasty Toasty, cannot follow through. They did the damage, but it still was not enough. Heliogenesis almost connects for the second time. Look at this box just being a little bit too over-aggressive. Roasty Toasty with a sliver of HP to survive. But that last turret will go down. The 1-for-1 trade, but definitely in the hands of Infamous.
Yeah, that was Vox diving on the turret a little bit too aggressive, trying to kill Vox there. But Spaghetti just taking the turret down. Celeste with fantastic ability to push turrets, can stay out of the turret range and still poke it down from afar. That's 3 damage items complete for Spaghetti. I don't think Harkons wants to chase too far under Christensen, so they're just going to back off. And SNK with a fantastic Crucible on the Fearsome Shade by Harkons. It's an extremely hard ability to block. And SNK managed to get it, which basically saved Spaghetti's life. Spaghetti managing to run away from the...
Toasty, what are you doing? The positioning. Oh, he gets caught out. One more auto attack might just be it. And no, the heals. Oh my goodness. The backline, the Solar Storm. That was huge coming in from Spaghetti. This man is just on a warpath. The second kill as well. And Delphire, the lonely Catherine, will go down. And another kill coming in from Infamous. That's going to be an ace, as well as the gold miners. So lots of, again, economy, or rather moolah, to be taken by Infamous.
Nice gold lead for Infamous. And I think Vox, 4 seconds on Kestrel. Vox is going to try and get this one crystal turret and then going to run away. We'll just pick it up. You're doing well there to back off. Lyra picking up No Wave Gauntlet is
Harkons.
quite a good idea, but Harkons
He wants it. He's gonna go for it. Ordain is gonna be activated. He hits the Bat Mojo as well. Delphire as the front line here. For the meantime, Artisan might have a good positioning for here, but still, Infamous has the items. They have the mobility. They have the damage, and that's gonna be the case once more. Solar Storm comes out from Spaghetti, but before that, they just obliterated. Well, this Harkons, Roasty Toasty here from the sidelines, but SNK almost shutting him down with just the Lyra. Spaghetti doing the footsie work, and man, the snipe on the Heliogenesis and another ace. If this isn't, well, that last crystal turret into the vein, then I don't know what is. Game 1 should be in the hands of Infamous.
Kraken is on the fold, but they would not need it. Infamous just team fighting extremely well. They took out the Crystal Sentry before they went for the fight, and then you've got a Celeste with 3 damage items and an extra piercing spear just to make sure that even if they build an Aegis, you're gonna pierce through it. Extremely well played from Spaghetti, landing all of those skill shots, which is what was the win condition for Infamous. Spaghetti needed to outpoke Artisan, and Spaghetti did it fantastically.
They did, and there was actually, from the looks of it, that last clash from Artisan looked pretty well, but then they didn't put it into their, I guess, calculation that Infamous had just that much damage.
And they were definitely, they had to try and take a fight. That was not a bad position for them to fight in.
Definitely.
Fearsome Shade, but they didn't quite get the Fearsome Shade into one shot, one kill. Celeste managed just to dodge it out just after the Fearsome Shade had ended. So if they'd have landed that combination, then it would have been one ability from Kestrel or Batista would have finished off Celeste. Then it would have been a 2v3 much quicker. So there was a chance for them to win that fight, but well executed by Infamous.
Yeah, definitely, and they're looking pretty strong. Well, kind of curious how they're going to be approaching our second game. So, what do you think? Like, can Artisan do to remedy what they just did on that first game? Like, is there another composition that they can push out of here or pull out from underneath from their sleeves, or will they go for something a bit similar here and then get countered once more by Infamous?
I think the compositions wasn't really outdrafted. Obviously, Celeste does have a lot of range, but it was more just outplayed. They could have executed their composition to its win condition if they'd managed to get on top of Celeste. So maybe it would have been a better idea to get somebody instead of Catherine to go for a captain who can really engage with you. Catherine engages by herself. She hasn't got any abilities to help you get on top of someone. She could only just try and stun up Celeste. But if you're being poked out before any of that, then you're in a bit of trouble. It might have made sense to go maybe Arden, who can just gauntlet in on top of Celeste.
Yeah, actually,
in a lot of trouble.
I saw that yesterday. That there was a lot of yesterday there was a comp again that was used with an Arden and a Batiste. But then the thing is, I actually wanted to know why they didn't go for a first pick Arden here. Would that have been like easily counterable, or like the Batiste would have been like really good as a follow up with like the Gauntlet and then the Ordain.
Yeah, the Arden Batiste comp is a good idea. I don't think they originally planned on going Batiste. I don't think they really know what. They don't think they really knew what they wanted to play. They just saw that as Skye had been banned away, Skye is the best. Is pretty much the best Catherine counter there is. So they knew that Catherine isn't going to be hard countered, except maybe by Petal. But Petal's rarely ever played at the moment. She's not weak, but just not in not the meta for some reason. They just went that the main counter to this hero has been banned. We might as well pick it up and then see what they're going to go and then build our composition around that. Maybe it'd be a better idea to think, okay, we want to play Batiste, and if we play Batiste, we want to have someone like an Arden who can go in with him and use the Vanguard to get him in and Gauntlet to double CC them.
Yeah, that's like super good because like I've seen it happen before. Like the combination from that is that when you drop down the Gauntlet and you hit the Ordain, you just put down a Fearsome Shade as well, and then you just force them out of the max range of the Fearsome Shade, or rather the Ordain, get the stun, and then they can't really get out of the Gauntlet just yet. So you kind of put them into what I like to call the kill bowl. So hopefully we see something like that.
Yeah, especially if you're up against someone like a Celeste who just has to run away. She can't be in the middle of a team fight because she's just too squishy, gonna die. All her abilities have range. Basic attacks have quite a long range as well. And you just need to be at the edge of the fight. So Celeste has to run away from you. If you land the Gauntlet, she can block the Gauntlet. She can't block the Gauntlet and the Ordained unless the Crucible's used. Then she can't block the Fearsome Shade. So it's all about basing out the blocks, getting rid of the blocks, and then using the hardest CC you've got to burst her down. Yeah.
Also, I think the other thing there was the Lyra was such a good tool for keeping everyone alive from Infamous. Just like
so much heal. The build I managed to go, she went a lot of health, and her heal amount of heal scales with the amount of health Lyra has. So it just gives her so much more. And if you win the early game or win the mid game as Infamous did, that means you can just get more health on Lyra. And that means even if you go slightly low, you maybe lose the first couple of trades. You can just pop your Imperial Sigil, your full health, and now you've won the trade because you have a Lyra to keep you nice and healthy.
That's true.
So we're going to see what the teams are going to think about for this next draft, because without further ado, we are going to go into the draft. And Grace not being played at all again. It's really odd how in some games Grace will be first banned or first picked, and in other games she'll get through without being played.
Yeah, maybe
teams are uncomfortable.
Maybe yesterday was the trial for all teams to, okay, Grace is new. We're going to test her out. We actually saw I think the any matches, and we're kind of excited to see what she'll bring to the Halcyon fold. But then come yesterday, she wasn't really the most effective because I think like people still don't fully understand how to combo with her. So maybe now they're just going to go for like the more comfort picks or the more safer compositions that don't have a Grace.
Yeah, they know how to play with the heroes like not Grace, and because her kit is quite unique. The stun that she has, you really have to think a lot about when you're going to use it and how you're gonna time it with other abilities, because it's really hard to land a Holy Nova just with no other CC. because most heroes can just walk out of it, even with
Yeah.
just tier 1 boots. And so you really need to either have, as I said, a Batiste ordained to keep them in it, or another stun, maybe a glaive afterburn to get them inside the Holy Nova so that it will land.
Yeah, but we have seen also like a Grace Catherine combo, but then it's just too easy to get past that. Even with just the Batiste. But all right, let's start the draft. It's gonna be the Sky ban to start
Sky
buying.
again.
Yeah, from Infamous.
They banned Sky in the previous game. Maybe it's going to be attacker ban again. Maybe both teams are going to go, these are the heroes we do not want to play against. We think we can counter most things, but we cannot counter these heroes. So attacker might be banned away, but Sky, I think they want to pick up Catherine because they probably wanted to get Catherine in the last game, but weren't able to because it was picked up immediately by Team A. And now they're on Team A. They're probably going to pick up Catherine now because that's also a good Baron counter if they let Baron through.
Yeah.
And Vox
Vox,
get banned
though.
away immediately. That's not actually that common because Vox, even though he was picked up quite early on, is normally banned away in the second phase. Most teams don't pick Vox as first pick. And they're going to get the Lyra. They saw how strong the Lyra heal was in the last game. Want to try and replicate that heal in this game. Well, that was just a good captain, but it could be countered by lots of mortal wounds. Obviously, Vox is very good at applying mortal wounds, but has been banned away. So they might go for a fortress. That's quite a risky decision. Or they could go for attacker later on to try and apply as many mortal wounds as possible. And they're going to go Idris straight away. They don't want it to be banned away. I wouldn't be surprised if they banned away Baron, but again, they could leave it open because Idris is all right at countering Baron. But it's really quite hard to do.
So second phase of the ban, Idris is the first pick. I really like this because you can either go for the weapon powered Idris or at least the crystal power depending on the situation. Oh, Kestrel ban.
Yeah, Kestrel was a comfort pick in the last game, even though it didn't win. So they don't want it to be played again. Just going to ban it away. And Kestrel is really good actually with Lyra because Kestrel not often building a lot of defense or health, just going for pure damage, which means if you haven't got much health, the heal gives you a much higher percentage of your full health. So you can go from half health to full health because you haven't got much, and the Lyra heal is actually really effective with squishy heroes like Kestrel. I don't know what composition they want to go with here. So they pretty much go with whatever they want. And to counter Idris, you can go for Samuel, heroes like that can poke quite well. Kestrel is actually a good Idris counter. That makes sense as a ban. Scarf we haven't seen, so maybe they want to go for somebody like an Alpha. Scarf is really good into Alpha with that goop on top of when she's in reboot. You're almost definitely going to pick up Alpha from her reboot. So that could be a hero they want to go with. That's Sky and Scarf being banned away means those are two extremely good kiting heroes. So it might make sense they want to go someone with a lot of dive.
Yeah, in your face type of composition here for Infamous. Artisan.
So
yeah, with the Finn.
The Finn's picks up. Finn's not seen a lot of use, but Finn still extremely strong. If you force the Crucible as second item, which on Lyra isn't the worst thing because that extra 600 health is really beneficial for her Imperial Sigil. But again, Finn, we've seen a lot of Echo or Null Wave on Finn, just to force the Crucible on your first pull, and then they've got nothing for the second one, and you can land the CC chain from a Finn hook into whatever other stuns you might have. You know exactly where they're going to be. I think Baron might be a good idea. Baron's really good against Finn because Finn can't run away from Baron, even though Finn is quite slow. Baron's just as slow. They're going to get the Batiste. That's a preemptive counter, I think. In fact, that's a good counter on Idris. Idris needs to dive on top of your backline, whoever they decide that's going to be. Whatever weapon power carry they want to pick. Blackfeather could be alright, just try and counter this Idris. Blackfeather works quite well with Lyra, so that would make sense. What are they going to pick? They're going to pick the Jewel. We haven't seen Jewel in ages. That's a really not a common pick at all. It's going to really be how well can this Jewel be played, because if you can do well at just facing the enemy when when they're trying to do damage on you, you take a lot less damage. But if you get hit from behind or from the side, you're going to take a lot more damage as dual with that heavy plating. And they're going to immediately for the Black Feather, so that's probably going to be a lane weapon power Idris and a jungle CP Black Feather. Batiste is good into both of those heroes, but it's all going to be on how well can this dual play. We haven't seen dual played at all, so I don't think anyone really knows her limits. And no one knows how strong she can be. She has a lot of damage towards the late game. Everyone knows that if you build dual with lots of weapon power, her Thunder Strike will do a lot of damage, and you can burst someone down very quickly. But if you get out of position and if you have to try and run away as dual, you're almost definitely going to die because she's exposed, hasn't got her heavy plating, and Idris especially will be able to burst that dual down. So yeah, it's going to be what can Uni do on this dual to. Because dual is an all-right Idris counter. There are probably better counters out there, but maybe that's just a comfort pick for Uni, thinking I know how to play dual well, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, the thing that you have to maybe be careful in this one is that there's a lot of even you said it already. There's a lot of dive potential here from the Black Feather and the Idris, so they got to be careful that even though there is a good counter with the Batiste Ordain or even the Fearsome Shadow, that good positioning and just coming in for a flank maneuver would be detrimental to this duel, just because she won't be able to maybe react in time if she can't face them forward with her heavy plating. Yeah. But still, there is the Lyra as well, so you can never put that out of commission. And into the Halcyon Fold we go, guys. Game 2, and Infamous looking to finish this 2-0. Although Artisan has a pretty strong comp, but they do have to be careful. That Jewel is a little bit of a wild card. Like you said, haven't been seen in a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be seen how well can they play into this duel, because you have to play slightly differently to how you would play against most heroes. Because if Jewel is on top of you with that heavy plating, you're gonna take a lot of damage. Because Jewel has extremely high weapon power ratios on a Thunder Strike. So yeah, actually her Thunder Strike cooldown scales with attack speed. So it's very likely that Jewel's going to pick up a Tornado Trigger, because we see a lot of Tension Bow, Sorblet Tension Bow, Tyrant's Monocle builds where heroes just don't go attack speed. With Jewel, you generally want to go quite a lot of attack speed, because then you get a lowest cooldown on your Thunder Strike. Jewel just wanted to rotate down to help Spaghetti out with that jungle. I think Spaghetti actually pick up the Elder Treant while Harkons was just porting home.
Yeah, Artisan does have the Finn, and again, I'm really curious to see this one because we've seen, I think it was actually also Delphire from yesterday who's been landing so many clutch forced accords, and I think because of that, Artisan are going to be very confident coming into this match, and they're going to put a lot of emphasis onto this Finn, having that ultimate, getting possibly the Lyra or, more importantly, maybe Uni, and then shutting him down quickly before the Batiste can set up.
Yeah, and if they catch Batiste out as well, that could work. I need to sneeze. No, I don't. I'm fine. And if they catch out Spaghetti and Spaghetti's in the middle of the fight, it can be really hard to land that bad mojo if everyone's around you. Obviously, if they're all in a line ahead of you, you just cast it forwards and you're fine. But if they're surrounding you, you don't know who to hit. I don't know where should I throw it, and then you might actually miss your bad mojo, which would be pretty disastrous for Spaghetti. That's pretty much his entire damage, all in that one ability.
Spaghetti still actually level 3 right now, so they're going to feel a little bit confident to maybe engage onto Delphire. Slams it down. Gets a nice slow right there, but he is being chased by Uni. Look at the damage from this Jewel. Although that is a Finn, he does have a sustainable, good amount of sustain or tank ability, and he will be able to survive. It looked like they wanted to go aggressive, but they can't go overly aggressive.
Yeah, Spaghetti rotating up to lane to try and get the kill on Roasty Toasty, but he's interested and he can just roll away at the moment until he unlocks his Divergent Paths. That Shroud Step will be a roll instead of a blink. He's probably going to pick up Soilblade first item. We don't see much else on Idris because of how well Soilblade unlocks that Divergent Paths. Batiste is actually going to be caught out by Harkons in the jungle. Ordain will not quite land it. It will expire before he gets the stun, but Harkon's managing to boots, Spaghetti managing to boots away and will not fall. That's very important for Batiste. Crystal Black Feather scales very well into the late game, and if he gets that power spike more in the mid game, he could be in quite a lot of trouble. Because he will do a lot of damage with that on point once he picks up a Shatterglass Pretty much, yeah. Once you pick up the Shatterglass, it'll do a lot of damage to them points.
Great rotation there from Infamous. Aside from maybe pushing out Spaghetti, they kind of got, I think, like all of the jungle camps here. So Spaghetti's very starved out. He's just roaming around willy-nilly. Doesn't really know what to do for the meantime because there's no objective they can actually push into the map. The lane, I mean, you can maybe gank for that, but again, like I said, it's going to be very difficult to chase down onto Delphire and Roasty Mitosi without, flying a little bit too close to the sun in terms of the being overly aggressive.
Yeah, most Mitosi can't quite pick up Soul Blade yet, so he's just going to get that heavy steel and rotate back up the lane. It just really wants to just farm as much as possible in the early game and wait for that first iffy item, so he can get a blink. Because once he gets that, he can blink behind Jewel, and because it happens so quickly, Jewel will not be able to turn around in time, and that'll be it. Ordained next to the custom back, and then Rocket League Jewel's going to land, not quite a stun. Like, keep them nice and healthy. Shaquen from Hitter's doing a lot of damage, but you need that show trying to land the stun, but couldn't quite land the stun on the Rocket League, just got to push back instead.
Nice connection there. Uni really showing his dominance, or rather damage output on the Uni. But Delphire, like I said, good front line for Artisan here. But SNK gonna keep themselves topped off. There's gonna be the quibble, but no follow-up just yet. I think once we start hitting that level 6, when you get those ultimates, that's when all hell will break loose here. Artisan is just waiting, and well, they're waiting with good aggression. They're not allowing, this Batiste to just farm as freely as possible, at least for the meantime. But now he's actually level 6. Does have that fearsome shade, so they gotta be careful.
Yes, but they're actually looking like he might go Broken Myth first on Batiste, which is quite rare. We generally see Shatterglass as first item almost entirely, just for that pure upfront damage. But it's really looking like he wants to go in on Stealthfire, going to get some nice poke. And he's going to actually ordain to He's going to land lots of damage there from Spaghetti, but Harkon is rotating up to try and help out Roasty in lanes. Spaghetti doing lots of poke here. Artisan a little bit of trouble. Roasty going, not quite getting low. Wow.
Spaghetti, what? I think that's, controlled aggression, even though Spaghetti wants to go aggressive. As long as Delphire doesn't connect the CC, SNK can keep them all healed up here just for the meantime before they hit those level 6 marks. There's no Shimmer Strike just set for Roasty Mitosi, or even the Force Accord for Delphire. So Infamous here are, going for the power plays. Artisan trying to return the favor and maybe get this push back onto the turret. SNK glad that he's under that turret's protection, or else he might have been blown up by Artisan here.
There's going to be a little bit of contested jungle. Spaghetti just wants to try and pick up this mid-tree, and doesn't look likely yet. That's going to be definitely skewed by Harkon there. And just a little bit of jungle, mids and fronts taken away by Artisan from Spaghetti. So actually Harkon is behind Spaghetti in terms of farm, but that's because he's got an entire jungle to go and clear. But that is supposed to be going very low. He's got his Shimmer Strike ready to try and jump away if one of his allies comes to help. Yeah, lots of damage from Uni and SNK there, knowing that Delphire and Harkons were jungle together. They could just go in on Idris and do a lot of damage. He's going to get his barrier from the Shrouds if he does it soon before taking damage. And no, lots of damage by Batiste. He's going to ult inside Delphire just to try and survive.
They're charging in. Look at that fearsome shade. Oh, laser coming out from Uni, or rather, from Uni, the big red button unleashed. And when you press that, well, you should know what follows through. That was some pretty cheeky pickoffs there from Infamous.
Yeah, that was a good fearsome shade from Batiste. He knew Idris was going to come out of his invulnerability quite soon, so casted the fearsome shade. Idris coming out of his invulnerability and immediately getting hit by that, and he got feared into the big red button from Jewel. So lots of nice combination there. Big red button not doing that much damage while Jewel's weapon power, but still it's something you got to worry about because it does. It will finish you off when you're low, and it's got a much longer range than anything else in Jules' kit. Harkon's now level 8, a lot of poke onto Uni.
But that was actually just really good lineup, like you said, the combination there. Once you hit, well, the fearsome shade, the big red button is an easy ultimate to just follow up on. Delphire putting out the pull floaty, looking for a pickoff, but he wasn't on point just yet. Can they rotate? Maybe get this gold miner, offset a little bit of that gold advantage for Infamous. Well, Infamous is going to be pushing the lane.
They're rotating down towards the jungle, and
SNK.
They're just going to go straight to the lane. They're going to get this turret, but will they be able to get away? There'll be an arcade passage from Lyra to try and help them out. Lovely fearsome shade.
That was glorious. Quibble though, was polite company. Yikes. And that's going to be one pickoff.
Turret for a kill. I think that's a trade Infamous are happy to take as long as they do not lose this turret themselves. Minion can be used by Delphire, and both of those can take a lot of damage, but he's going to do a lot to the turret.
Oh my goodness! That's going to be the Idris. Ooh, and he uses the Arcane Passion to be able to escape the clutches of death, but that was just so much burst coming in for Rosamitosi, and I believe as well from Harkons. That was, like, they lined up, they clumped up together, and they got punished.
Yeah, they got the turret, but they lost the return turret and 2 kills and the gold mine. So definitely the gold advantage turning towards Artisan's favour. Now they were slightly behind. Now they're definitely 500 or so gold ahead. But SNK has now picked up a Crucible. So that one forced chord that Finn did try that missed was the only real chance that Finn was going to have to land a forced chord, because Lyra did not have a Crucible and there was only a Ricketts block. And probably, I don't think there were Ricketts blocks on Union Spaghetti quite then. But now there are blocks on both of them, so I reckon that's going to be hopefully used on Union just to try and stay alive, or maybe block an Atlas, because Jewel well countered by Atlas. She's got actually a Soul Blade breaking point, pretty standard build, and probably going to work towards a Tornado trigger with that minions. But yeah, fusions were used on Uni and once now been used on Spaghetti, so that was a little bit of a waste by Uni because they did lose the turret even though he was infused. Blackfeather wants to fight. He's got a Soul Blade, he's got a Shatterglass and a Broken Myth, so Blackfeather's in a good position to fight.
And they will.
Locked.
They really want it, but like you said, Force Accord is going to be for null and void because of the counter from SNK. Look at the poke just coming in, the bad mojo connecting left and right, hitting 2 people. That's perfect. Actually, he's going to be onto Harkons, onto Rosamitosi. The poke from Harkons, though, putting Uni to a very bad spot. Delphire looking out the polite company. He's not being polite just for the meantime, but, well, he's a little bit angry. He can't connect his pull floaty anymore. Rosamitosi from the sidelines with the Idris. They're going to be going aggressive. This is a fearsome shade just to put back, and Delphire is just tanking it all in for the meantime as Rosamitosi going in with the Shimmer Strike, almost taking down SNK, and the chase is on, or will it not? Artisan cannot follow through. They're chasing, but they don't have that insane amount of chase potential, and like Infamous, you can just get away from the fight. Ooh, look at that polite company pulling them back in. Rosamitosi right here from the sidelines, but still, they don't have enough follow-up.
SNK wanted to port home, but was going to be routed by the Treant, so had to run away with an Imperial Sigil. And as you see, again, lots of health on Lyra. Obviously Fountain, then Crucible, and working towards War Treads. Lyra just going for that massive burst heal on her Imperial Sigil. And Finn with an Aegis is actually using that to get extra armor and shield when he uses his polite company on his allies, because the amount of armor and shield they get from that does scale with the amount of armor and shield Finn has. So building an Aegis is actually a good idea on Finn, whereas it normally isn't on most captains. And they really want to shield that Batiste as opposed to armor against the Jewel for right now. Jewel only with 2 damage items doesn't do as much as Batiste does with 2 damage items.
Gold Miner is up once more. Still, this game has been going a little bit left and right. There's just 1k gold advantage for Artisan here, but Infamous, of course, still have a huge chunk to deal with. Bad Mojo has been used by Spaghetti here just for that poke potential. And Delphire, he wants it down. Oh, the 2-man polite company. Will they follow through? Shimmer Strike to come out from the Idris, and Mortal Wounds connecting onto the Batiste. He went in a little bit too over-aggressive. Uni as well as SNK cannot follow through. The poke from Harkons. He wants to push him as well, but they'll just be happy with that one Batiste pickoff and maybe the charge into the lane. But wait, I may be wrong. I could be wrong. They're charging in. They want to chase him down. Yeah, just go for the gold miner.
Yeah, Uni's going to try and see it. Mika button is up. He has not got vision. That's the case then. And mental payout will go over to Idris. Uni not quite going to be able to steal that one away. But the forced accord from Finn was not blocked in that fight. SNK not quite expecting it. It was well timed by Finn. Lara just used her Bright Bulwark and was not expecting a forced accord. And so SNK didn't block it. But now, Finn, with that Null Wave Gauntlet, I've always said I prefer to see a Null Wave on Finn over an Echo. That means if Finn uses that ability onto Lyra, then Lyra will have to either Crucible the Null Wave or will be item silenced for 4 seconds. So will not be able to Crucible the Forced Accord, and that could turn the team fight. So Spaghetti gets pulled in. And they're going to push this turret, and we're going to see if Delphi's going to use that null wave. And it is. A fight is going to break out, but no, the double block. No, Delphi, that's not how you use the null wave. You've got to wait for the item silence, then force the cord. But Delphi is just gonna. They're not gonna fight now. They're gonna back off. There's no ultimate from Finn, so this turret will be safe.
Yeah, 40 seconds before that comes back up. But for the meantime, it looks like Artisan will be just happy taking out any other jungle camps that will Infamous have. Baron, or rather, Kraken should be up at about a minute, and this is gonna be possibly the power play that Artisan will be looking for. You gotta use that behemoth to go for the push. Artisan, though, they're gonna go aggressive. They spotted SNK. If you can actually hit the light company, that's not gonna matter anymore. SNK does go for the block. Nice timing right there.
Played. SNK has bought a reflex block and a crucible, so that null wave has been countered completely. Finn spent quite a lot of money on that null wave coordinate. It does give you cooldown as well, but SNK just has to use reflex block and they're on the null wave and crucible the Finn pull. So extremely well played from SNK, just seeing the null wave. The one team fight where Finn had it as a surprise, he didn't use it correctly, he just null waved and tried to pull at the same time, and you can block two things at once. So Infamous just playing this extremely well, countering the builds. SNK's countering the builds from Delphi.
Yeah, Delphi cannot get a break for the meantime here, but still, there is that slight opening for Infamous. They have really good damage with Uni. It just feels like with all of that damage output, there is no opening for her to actually unleash all of that.
Yeah, and there's actually looks like Delphi's going to pick up an Echo. So Delphi's saying, "I'm not finished. I'm going to land a Forced Accord in the late game team fight. I don't care how many blocks you've got. You're going to need to get a second Crucible if they want to block the Forced Accord, because you have to reflex block the null wave, Crucible the Forced Accord, and then you have to have another hero with another Crucible to get the second Forced Accord. So Delphi doesn't need utility. He hasn't got Crucible, hasn't got War Treads, hasn't got Atlas, hasn't got any of that. Just wanting to land the Forced Accord and trusting that Artisan can win the team fight with that alone.
Yeah, still, of course, that's why it's called Forced Accord. You force yourself on your opponent. Kraken is just there, standing, saying, "Where are my challengers? Who will try to be able to use my power to push the lane?" But never mind just that. Artisan will be looking to push the lane without the help from the Kraken just yet. Delphi does have that Force Accord. One wrong. Okay, never mind. I thought he was gonna go for a little bit on the higher ground. Oh my goodness! The leap from Uni. He's gonna go with the rocket jump. They do get the trap in onto Delphi, and he's just chunking down. Look at that! The three-man fearsome shade as well to connect from Spaghetti, and that's why I love him on the Batiste. Just give him an opening, and he will crack it as huge as he can. Although Delphi, as well as Roasting Toasty, surviving with slivers of HP. Will they chase it down? The big red button is still alive here for Uni, so no movement just yet from this Infamous member. But still, maybe can line it up and just explode and get that double kill. But still, that was... I thought that there was going to be a kill right there.
Yeah, they're both Infamous just able to back off, and they're all full health because of that Lyra. Half-Goddess is going to be... Didn't go that low from that fight, so he'll be okay. Trying to steal this Kraken with non-point, but most of the Toasty and Delphi had to fall back to base. And now there's going to be a fight breaking out. Tarkin's going to try and get some poke down. We're not smoking.
Who's going to get the last hit? Can they get the steal? Oh, who's going to get it? No! Uni with the last shot right there. Delphi, bit more than he can actually chew. He just dives in to the middle of the fight. Look at how much damage Uni is dealing. He's going to leap back in. That's the 2 kills already. And only one to remain. I think it's going to be, yes, the Idris, and that's going to be the ace. Infamous. They were so far, they're actually not far behind, but they were actually behind a little bit. But that one power play, the one that got them the Kraken, the ace, this might be it.
Yeah, SNK just so much health on that Lyra. War Treads, Crucible, Fountain, and Reflex Block just means the Imperial Sigils are so hard to try and counter, because as soon as Infamous disengage, they get a heal from Lyra, they're all full health, and now they could just re-engage again with us not low at all. And it's Kraken. She's walking down the lane, that's lots of heal from Lyra, but won't be up for another 4 seconds.
The swag walk from the Kraken.
Uni playing this well. So SNK's got a Crucible for the Finn Forced Accord, and there is no Echo yet, so can't use it twice. Looks like the fight might be working out, and there will be Forced Accord, but blocked nicely.
Blocked nicely indeed. Man, this Kraken is just dealing a huge chunk of damage, but before just that, look at the heals from this Lyra, keeping Spaghetti topped off. Uni has to back away. Force to Court will not be there just yet, but Harkons and Rosamitosi have that chase potential, and they will be able to, well, punish a little bit Infamous, but Infamous, I think, yeah, they were able to use the Kraken and break down one crystal turret. So that was pretty worth for the blue team.
Yeah, Uni on Jewel here just bought the 3 damage items that Jewel needed, didn't want to really fight before that, but now Uni's picked those up. Just the burst damage that Uni could do is so hard to counter. There were 2 full metal jackets on Harkons and Mercy Coasting because they need it. They're not going to go for the Atlas. Jewel's actually gone for Tyrant's Monocle, so going for the just burst damage on the Thunderstrike instead of going for the cooldown to get more Thunderstrikes, which does work. And yeah, they need full metal jackets to even try and sustain through Uni's damage. But Delphire has got the 2 items he needs. He's got No Wave, he's got Echo, so it's very likely a Force Accord will land, provided the Infamous don't engage on their terms. Because what they need to do now is they need to just go in, not worry about the Finn Force Accord, because they just need to fight, because one of them is going to land.
But hold that thought. There's gonna be a polite company, but never mind. The Force Accord blocked once again by SNK. Man, this guy has been... never mind. A second Force Accord, but that fearsome shake to push them all back away. Spaghetti is in a world of hurt, but the Lyra is just keeping him sustained for so long. Hold that thought. Look at the damage coming in here from Artisan. They're just bringing them back one after the other. The Arcane Passions from SNK. He's trying to micro his way back into surviving victory, but never mind. It's gonna be an ace. That second Force Accord just made the whole world difference for Artisan.
Yeah, Finn knowing exactly what he had to do. He just did one skill after the other. No Wave on Lyra, forced the reflex, forced the Crucible, and Lyra's picked up three blocks. Got a Crucible, and so that reflex went into an Aegis. And I think the Infamous cannot win this way. They can't win by trying to block everything out and then go in, because they're not able to block everything. And if they use all their blocks on the Finn, on the Force Accord, then they haven't got. Finn has an Echo, and Echo resets the cooldown of any ability that's been used. So that means that he can use the Force Accord twice in one team fight. But Finn obviously has to wait for that Echo to be on cooldown. It's on cooldown for another 5 seconds. And yeah, they can't wait for the Finn to use all his abilities because they can't block them all. There are 2 blocks on Union's ability, so they could both use an Aegis to try and block that second Force Accord from the Echo on Finn, but even then it's just a kind of a waste of so many reflex blocks just for one hero.
For one hero indeed, but I mean, if that's the way for Infamous to win this, maybe. But this Kraken is just full on HP. There's the first Force Accord. Where's the second one? Just there.
Delphire just waiting. He's got the Force Accord ready, but he's going to use it when units really aren't expecting.
Diving in as aggressive as possible. Fearsome Shade to get to connect onto the members of Infamous here, but it's just a bit too late. This Black Fairy is just doing heaps and heaps of damage. And there's the one crystal turret, the second to follow through as well. SNK and Uni are not going to be enough. I mean, wait, hold that thought. Weapons, Thunder Strike coming in from Uni. The critical strike's actually connecting so well, but there is going to be the Bane actually exposed, and it will be popped by Harkons, Rosamitosi, and Delphire, surviving as 3 members, taking down 2 of Artisan, or rather of Infamous, and we are going, I believe, to the 3rd game.
Yeah, we will. That was played extremely well by Delphire, and the 3rd match of this stream will actually be offline, just to make sure we keep on track with the schedule. So we'll let you know who wins that game when we do know who. And we do know it was extremely well played from Delphire. There knew exactly what he needed to do. Got just using the Finn, even though it's not a normal captain build to only have a fountain for utility. Obviously, Lyra with fountain, Mortreads, and Crucible. For Finn just needing a fountain, and then he could just get items to get land Force Accord, and that was enough because Rosamitosi and Harkons didn't really need any more utility than is what it is in their kit inherently with their invulnerability and blocks that they have.
Yeah, but wow, that was just Artisan bringing it back to life. Infamous, I mean, on the start of the game, they look pretty damn strong with Uni's, again, the Thunder Strikes and that one combo with the Fearsome Shade into the big red button. But Delphire is bringing it back all together for Artisan for sure.
Definitely. And so now we will be going into a quick 10-minute break. And after the break, we'll be watching the second semi-final, which is going to be between Popeyes and Elite 8. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
Your starting casters for this game, which is actually going to be Artisan versus Infamous, Game 3, is going to be me, Asarai, with Minimiter and Luxuria.
Thank you, Asarai. My name is Minimiter, and we've now, instead of going on to the second game, we're going to treat you to the third game, Artisan Infamous, as he said. So the winner of this will be playing in the final at the end. And it's going to be interesting to see for this draft. What are you thinking, Dennis? Obviously, we saw Finn pretty much win the game along with Idris. Do you reckon they might see a ban on Finn this game?
No, I personally do not think that Finn would be banned because it is quite a niche pick. It is not a pick that you see. But in Delphire on Finn, I think he is quite a known Finn. His main role is a Finn after all. So, honestly, I think what went wrong in the previous game was that Jewel was picked up. Jewel isn't a meta hero. It might be because Infamous is trying out a surprise pick. Like we see a lot of surprise comps coming out normally come out on top because the opponent do not know what to expect from the comps. But then just looking at the comps itself from the previous game, we have Alara picked up, we have Batiste, and then we have Jewel. It's just a synergy of this entire team itself. For team fights, they're not really that great because, like you said, once Idris unlocked the divergent path for weapon, you can actually blink into the back of Jewel and then just take Jewel down really, really quickly. So, I really like just look at the draft in the previous game. I really like the draft coming out from the side of Artisan. And honestly, I think it was draft that won Artisan that game.
Yeah, it definitely was well drafted by Artisan. And speaking of the draft is ready. So without further ado, we are going to go into the draft.
Right. So opening the draft, I'm not surprised. Oh, I'm not surprised if we actually do see the standard bans out. I mean, Batiste in the previous game, we saw Spec on Batiste yesterday, and Spec was doing really, really well on this Batiste. But then just into this team comp, I mean, there are a few team fights that, Spaghetti actually use Fearsome Shade, and did credits for the ability itself. But then it's just that, the team fights didn't just go as well because, Finn actually picked up an Echo in the later part of the game and double pull. The side of Infamous almost did not expect the double pull. So we are seeing a Vox ban. Now, that is quite a classic ban, although not a standard first ban. But I think Vox is quite a, banning out Vox just opens up a lot of other carries out there.
Yeah, and we see the Sky immediately banned. And they're going to counter that with a Catherine. Good pick. Arden, good pick as well. And again, they just want to ban away Kestrel. And they don't want to see the poke. Both teams don't want to see the Kestrel and Celeste poke. And yeah, it's just being picked up. And they're going to go Jewel. Why are they going Jewel? We saw how Jewel didn't work in the last game. Doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I'm not too sure myself. Okay, so on this side, we actually do have Artisan on the blue side, and then we have Infamous on the red side. So, honestly, I really like the draft coming up from the side of Infamous with the Idris and the Taka. Taka does well against the Scarf. But the Jewel, like you said, isn't that matter of a pick? I'm not sure why Jewel is being picked up again, although Jewel did not perform that well in the previous game. I mean, putting Jewel up in lane against this Idris, granted for the early game, you have, that heavy plating in front, allowing you to actually just take damage on from this Idris. But even then, just look at the draft alone, I really favor the draft coming out from the side of Infamous.
Yeah, I think the Jewel and Batiste problem in the last game was that Jewel wanted to dive in and they just wanted to do damage from afar and just poke for a bit. And they've got a very similar comp here where Jewel wants to dive in and Scarf wants to do damage from afar. I think the Taka is really good into both Scarf and Jewel. Taka, using his Etsuetsu, can get behind Jewel and then do Kaisen over from there. And Idris, similarly, as we said in the last game, can just blink on top of her. And Idris and Taka are both great at diving Scarf as well. Scarf has no abilities to get away from an Idris or from a Taka, so they can just go in and yeah, I think it'll be tough for Artisan to try and win this game.
Yep, definitely. What do you think, Asura? What do you think about the draft coming out from both teams?
Honestly, I just feel like Infamous are gonna be steamrolling this from the get-go because it just feels like with the Arden, and then his Gauntlet being used, there's just too much, I think, kill potential. Coming in from this gap closing Taka as well as the Idris. There's no escape for Jewel or the Scarf. I mean, they have a Catherine, but then she's not that huge of a, I don't know, like of a defensive captain to be able to maybe keep Jewel and Scarf alive long enough that they will be able to outlast the Idris or the Taka.
Honestly, coming into this game, I'm really just expecting this side of Artisan to have two frontliners and just allowing Scarf to poke from the back. And I see that it's happening because, I mean, we have a Jewel, we have Catherine, it's double stun comp, and they can actually be in the front line going up against Idris and Arden, but not after Idris gets the divergent path.
Yeah, definitely. I think Roasty Toasty is going to try and bully Spaghetti in lane as much as possible, but it won't be easy because there is an Arden just to provide that Vanguard whenever Spaghetti gets a little bit low. Harkons will probably just farm as much as possible because Taka doesn't generally invade much in the jungle till he hits level 6 and has that Expressu. So I think Harkons will be okay to get level 8 quite quickly on this jungle Scarf.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of good Ardens in this game, especially I think Anime saved me, but SNK, if he can follow through in that kind of footsteps, go in for the bait Vanguards, that's just gonna maybe pull in Artisan a bit more, and then just put them in a very precarious situation wherein Spaghetti and Uni can just deal the damage. Look at this, they're gonna be going in for a 3v3. SNK will be holding hands. They're just all level 2s here, rather level 1s, and Harkons go for the immediate recall.
Yeah, most because he manages to pick up the Elder Treant, so denying that away from Uni is quite good. Spaghetti's going to get most of it. He's going to get the Vanguard and be absolutely fine. He's going to pick up level 2. Just going to unlock that Shroud Step. Attack's actually going to go for the back of Roasty Toasty. Going to get that, not quite Kai'Sa because he would have gone a bit too deep under turret. Roasty Toasty is going to jump jets away and try and farm as much as possible of this way. If Scarf doesn't want to rest up the lane, the attacker wants to try and get some ganks off. Scarf is not the best at ganking, can't really get on top of Spaghetti, can just try and poke, and so Scarf's going to farm up another stat from Catherine, but another Vanguard from Arden. They just each going to trade 1 for 1. I expect to see that quite a lot. Delphi running out of the bush and SNK doing exactly the same.
Yeah, so for the meantime, this is the calm before the storm. We won't see too. I don't think we'll see too much, except for maybe the invade of the Taka onto the Scarf later on. But Harkon's gonna be rotating into the lane, and he looks to maybe set up onto Spaghetti. Spaghetti does have, of course, the safety of the Vanguard by SNK, so they gotta be hard fought. Maybe get this one pick off.
Yeah, that's gonna be Rocket Loop. He's not gonna land. He's gonna actually walk around the goop. Spaghetti's going very low. Oh,
He'll survive.
Yeah, it will be fine. SNK managed to get the Vanguard, and Spaghetti not doing the obvious decision and walking towards the turret. He saw the Jewel was there, going to Rocket Leaf in. He saw the goop of Scarf and actually just walked towards the enemy turret and then backed off that way. Delphi are doing well on getting stacks for that capture the guard, just getting a stun. Every time he stuns, gets a little bit more armor, a little bit more shield, and Spaghetti's just going to be okay now. He's just going to try and farm as well as possible. With SNK, he's not going to rotate down to jungle. It's very unlikely that he's going to leave Spaghetti because obviously with that stun from Catherine, it can be chained with the goop from Scarf or the Rocket Leap from Jewel, and Spaghetti could be in quite a lot of trouble. He's just going to try and clear this lane as quickly as possible, which isn't that quick when it just has only got Book of Eulogies.
Yeah, not a lot of wave clear here for Spaghetti. He actually could have been able to rotate into the jungle. Delphi almost smacks down a Merciless Pursuit, but gonna be enough gap close right there. Harkons was ready and waiting for maybe a goop Spitfire combo. SNK will absorb, or will start eating some of the XP here possibly, but never mind. Spaghetti's back into the lane. Harkons eats a turret shot, and wow, the damage from Harkons. Look at that. Spaghetti has to be very careful here, even with the Vanguard.
Spaghetti eating a goop, he's trying to farm up as well as possible, but Scarf putting down the goop so that where Spaghetti wants to stand, if he wants to farm up and stand there, he's got to have to take a lot of poke. And Taka, meanwhile, the invisible sneaky hero, has taken all the backs from Scarf and has seen the mid pop and is going to port home, not going to risk going for it. He's heard from his teammates that Artisan are rotating down to the jungle. Scarf's going to be quite annoyed when she goes to the maximum versus they're not there, but that's good for Taka, even though it just went low and was it just went low. He did die, and Taka managed to get the entire jungle of Scarf. Scarf is going to rotate back up to lane, but it just already got to the jungle, so there's nothing for Harkons to get. He's just going to walk around and hope, really.
And Infamous are just playing this so well. They can see, or rather, they know the movements of Scarf, and now they might actually spot out Harkons just here. Delphire goes in aggressive, gets the connection under the stun, but here comes SNK to hold the hands of Uni. Does have the Vanguard, so he's going to be pretty, aggressive, going to be pretty confident to be able to deal the damage and absorb it without taking too much punishment from that one. Goes in with the backstep onto Delphire and immediately says, I'm not going to go for it. Delphire connects the stun, hits with the Scout Trap, actually, if I'm not mistaken, and SNK a little bit out of no man's land, but Uni in the backline diving in. He goes in over the wall, and this might be the first blood. He will get it. There's going to be the goop into the Spitfire, but it's not going to be enough damage. And with this trend as well, the last hit that's going to give a HP regen for Uni here. Great start for Infamous.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be able to sneak away. Delphire's not going to quite catch him out with the flare. Uni going to not port home, actually. He's going to get a speed boost off a... Captain's going to try and get a stun. Uni's just going to run away, and it will actually get away, because swinging onto the minions. That was extremely well played from Uni. He's made sure Arden was standing over the wall, so that he got vision onto Harkons. Didn't actually have a scout jump there, but just managed to use the Arden to see where Harkons was. The next threat to him in, and Scarfa's not going to be able to get away from Taka. Taka getting that speed boost from the House Kuma perk, and then Scarf only has boots to get away, and Taka has his own boots to catch up. So Scarf really not going to be great for Taka. He's relying on Delphire really to peel for him, and most of you actually picking up a Serpent's Mask first item on Jewel. We haven't seen Jewel played like at all, and this time just going for a Serpent's Mask. But that is a lot of damage onto
Uni trying to run away, but again, SNK is that one brick wall. Well, for his teammates, but not maybe for himself. He's being chased down quite a bit. Sidesteps the Spitfire. That might have been, well, a little bit too lethal for him. Spaghetti dives back in, does have that Idris, and they gotta be careful.
Uni is going to the back, but there was a scout trap he did not see, so Uni will be known about. Harkons is going to try and contest. There is a Crystal Sentry, and Uni has now seen Harkons, and is going to try and stealth away. He probably will go away.
He wants to go as aggressive as possible, but the goop is pushing him back. Uni way out of position here. Great sidestep, but whereas SNK, he might need the survivability here, but that Kaku, enough. The stealth, pretty damn good here for Uni. And, well, he walks away with 3 members of Artisan chasing him down, but still nothing.
And actually, that is in lane. Spaghetti is going very low. Full to the Thunder Strike. Using the Shimmer Strike, just not quite going to keep him alive. Arden not managing to get away. And it's just going for Poison Shiv a second item. It does make a lot of sense. And now SNK is going to get a bit of a good Harkons, and that is going to be Uni diving in.
He's trying to go for it. He's aggressive as can be. Harkons very low on HP. We'll give him, I believe, the health there. Rather, yeah, he's just going to be able to get them the heal back up. And Uni wants to dive back in. Does have the Kaku. He's chasing him down, but never mind. That's just going to be, well, the recall, and then the Trent will be at least the path here, or at least the objective taken. Maybe even the turret as well. Another hero kill for Infamous.
Yeah. SNK managing to using the gauntlet to try and just trap Jewel in, and Spaghetti and the Uni diving a little bit under turret, but they managed to tank it quite well. Spaghetti going to dodge out that Spitfire with his Shroud Step. Taka just taking mids and then fronts from away from Scarf. Taka with a 21 CS lead over this Scarf is really invading the jungle successfully. There's some nice vision by Catherine, so Taka is not as successful as he might have liked to be, but he's definitely going to be happy with how ahead he is of this Scarf.
Yeah, definitely. Still, there hasn't been a team fight wherein Harkons has used his ultimate yet. No, Fire Breath be used. Dragon's Breath, rather. Yeah, he's a dragon. Very cute dragon.
Uni's out of position. He's going to not quite get away. He's going to try and Tyson over the gold mine. There'll be a flare to spot him out, and Arden's going to try and give him a helping hand, and of course, he'll be fine. Arden's going to save his life.
This is why I love an Arden. You can just have, an aggressive hero, and then when you have Arden, you just almost always, put your faith in the Vanguard, and it almost always as well pushes through.
There's going to be a fight here.
It's going to be a fight indeed. There's going to be the flag maneuver coming in from Artisan. There is the Shimmer Strike here, but Spaghetti, they will say, we don't want to fight under the Dragon's Breath. We don't want Harkons to be able to hit us 3-0. But still, that was pretty well timed from Infamous. They got themselves another turret for literally nothing.
Yeah, poor rotation from Artisan. They all went towards the jungle, which obviously you've seen Infamous do this quite a lot, so it does work well getting the ambient gold and experience on your carry. But you've got to do it once you push the laners. Spaghetti pushes the lane, then rotates down to the jungle. But Artisan went through to the jungle while the lane was pushed to their side. So as Infamous were all in lane, they went, okay, we see you in jungle, we'll just push the turret then and get an extra turret. And now Uni's going to try and sneak this gold mine. It is spotted out. Artisan do know about it, and it's going to be picked up by the attacker.
There's the gauntlet as well coming in from the Arden. Oh, the damage! This is it. The kill pit activated by SNK. One after the other, they fall like dominoes. And well, that's what we were afraid of. It's gonna happen if Artisan goes in a little bit too cheeky. Infamous just sets up a huge gauntlet, and then, like I said, the skill pit, the kill bow.
Uni just having that CS lead of a scarf. Get the 3 lives down, and there's going to be probably a gang hide in the bush, and it's going to be spotted out by the Spitfire and the Flare. So Spaghetti's just going to blink away. Delphire's going to get it stacked, but it's 6k gold lead almost for Infamous now. They're really with that Storm Crown, amazing damage to jungle minions and to sentries and to neutral objectives. Means that he can just take the farm and get out so quickly. And now with a full Aegis on Scarf, before Scarf has Uni with three completed items, Scarf with only 1. So this is a really good time for Infamous to fight when they have the gold lead and they have the item lead as well.
Yeah, they're putting their faith onto Harkons, but he is not able to rise up to the occasion. I mean, he's a dragon. He should be able to, get the flight back in. Rosamitosi using the big red button just to clear out the waves so that Infamous will back off for the meantime. And that's going to be the case, but then they forfeit their jungle once again. So this is going to be Infamous time and time again, going to be able to steal all of the juicy jungle minions. But for the meantime, Infamous is going to go for the fight, and Artisan will oblige. Here's the charge in from Mooney. It's going to be super aggressive. Oh, there's Dragon's Breath, but he is trying to micro this while trying to run away. That's not how you want to use this ultimate for the meantime. The Gauntlet, he won't be able to escape just yet. And 2 kills, only the Catherine to survive the captain. But this turret is so heavily exposed, and Infamous will capitalize.
Yeah, extremely good fight from Infamous. They took out the Crystal Sentry, which is a lot of damage the Artisan could have used, but it went down immediately to the attacker with that massive round. And Spaghetti, just with 3 completed damage items, just is going to do a lot of damage to anyone. See, killing Scarf even while Scarf was in base. So it's really good from Infamous. They're pushing their lead very well, taking all of the farm, making sure that they don't let Artisan have any way to get back in this unless they win a team fight.
Yeah.
And SNK's picked up that Echo, so that's a good pick up on Arden. Get the double gauntlet in, meaning they can trap Scarf, force the resets block, then trap Scarf again with the second gauntlet, and it just leaves Taka and Idris free to dive backline with no real P. Catherine has one stun, and if the blast ram has been blocked, which it is, SNK is doing a fantastic job at cruising all of the blast tremors from Catherine, so Spaghetti and Uni are free to just dive as they wish.
Yeah, it's just so good here. The synergy for Infamous is really showing, and like you said, having that double gauntlet, that's just another nail on the coffin. It's very mean in terms of like Scarf won't be able to escape anymore, but still, it's just Infamous making sure that no chance will be had here by Artisan to even amount the comeback, although there is, how much is already a 10,000 gold lead by Infamous. But again, this might be deja vu into the jungle. Delphire will be the front line. Roasted Mitosi right there. It's gonna be the dash in from Uni as well as Spaghetti, and they are fearless for the meantime. Scarf still with the Dragon's Breath, but holding it off because you know what happened a while ago. He threw it off, but then he was just pushed back, so he had to look the other way. No damage dealt with that ultimate. But for the meantime, Infamous are playing this safe. They're trying to bait it out, and they still respect Artisan's, well, I would say AoE potential here against the red team.
it's really hard to fight an enemy when they're right next to their sanctuary, because they can just back off into that. And Infamous are waiting in the party rush. It's the one where Scarf is going to be split by him, but the Gauntlet's going to come down. It's actually going to miss Scarf. Here's the second one.
And here the fight commences. The Dragon's Breath, totally chipping all of them down. Could this be the comeback potential? Wait, hold that thought. Spaghetti as well as SNK have breached through the back line. And the damage, my goodness, from this Idris as well as the Taka is just too much. They find themselves the jewel, and only Delphi and Harkons to remain. But the good thing about this one is that there is still 2 crystal turrets defending that Vayne. But still, I mean, what can you do? There is no chance, and I don't know, there was a good setup there, but it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, Scarf doing a lot of damage, getting 3-man Dragon's Breath off, but Scarf only has 1 completed damage item, only with the Eve of Harvest. Hasn't even got a Broken Myth or a Shatterglass or a Frostband yet. So Scarf doesn't do the damage that she needs to. There's an Aegis on both Uni and Spaghetti, so Scarf needs to get that Broken Myth, needs to get some more damage before anything's really going to happen. And Infamous could bait the Kraken. They probably want to take a team fight instead, so the team fight is going to not quite break out. SNK with no Gauntlet and no Echo for another minute means that SNK doesn't really want to fight. They're just going to bait out the Kraken, and if Artisan try and steal it, they're just going to go for a team fight.
Yeah, they have to be very careful because, well, actually SNK, well, we'll have to use this Echo to be able to activate the Gauntlet because it's on a 20-second cooldown, possibly. But Uni, how so aggressive he will be. He baits out the Dragon's Breath, but still Infamous are just so hell-bent in taking out Artisan one after the other. The Catherine uses the ultimate, but then the delay on that cast time just made it so that his teammates were open for the taking, and Spaghetti, Uni, and as well as SNK capitalized. This should be the Crystal Turrets, and that should be game. Catherine is the last man standing here, 10 seconds left into the clock, and what can a captain do against all of this barrage from Infamous? There's even a BM Gauntlet just for some pizzazz points, and that's gonna be it. 2-1, Infamous win this one.
Infamous taking the game, just the superior draft. We saw Jewel lost both games, unfortunately. Jewel not quite. She went for the sustain build this game. Last game we saw a full burst Jewel, trying to get as much damage as possible. This game we saw a Serpent's Mask, Breaking Point, and defense Jewel. But the main trouble was not Jewel. Jewel actually keeping up on CS pretty well with Spaghetti. The problem was just Taka into Scarf will destroy a Scarf in the jungle, taking so much farm because even though Catherine got a contraption, got a lot of vision, there was good vision on Catherine in the jungle, Taka with a Stormcloud took the jungle too quickly, so he could just take the jungle before Scarf could even rotate to try and stop him.
Yeah, it was just great invades